Okay, and now we're going to talk about our second feature that we added to DCA setup form, which is a bit easier to understand than the previous one, than the TP percentage from the TP distance from the market price. But it's more, this feature is more intuitive and maybe even more useful. So we now calculate for you your actual stop loss. So know that, and in your DCA setup form, you're you're setting your stop loss percentage as percent of the last averaging order, right? So that 1% of the stop loss measures the distance between these last, you see that was your entry price, these are the averaging orders, and then the stop loss distance, that 1%, okay, maybe let's make it 5%. So this 5% measures the distance between this price and the stop loss. So from this price, if this averaging order executes, the price needs to fall by another 5% for your stop loss to be hit, right? So that's 5% that that tells us where to place your stop loss, and it tells you how much the price will need to move after the last averaging order for your stop loss to be hit, but doesn't tell you anything else. And now we show you two more parameters. First, your total expected loss. So you see here I have 13 averaging orders. Obviously, I will have some position which will be kind of created by executing those 13 orders with different sizes and different prices. So and then when stop loss is hit, how much of that actual position I will actually lose, and I will show you. So I will lose 11% of the position that will have. So my total actual loss at this 5% distance from the last averaging order will be 11%. And what is more, I can now see that that's actually how much in terms of like absolute amount my loss will be. So that's 11%. It's going to be actually over 2000 USDC, which is quite a lot, right? You can actually see that that's really a lot. Okay, so let me maybe give an example. So what affects that? So you obviously, first, why we show it to you? Because you need to control your loss, right? You need to understand that you are running a portfolio of several DCAs, and of course you don't want your stop losses to be hit, but if they are hit, you need to understand what impact it will have. So with this, if you have this set up and the stop losses hit, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose over 2000 USDC, which is probably not ideal. So what you wanna do? You wanna maybe play with the setup and see what affects this percentage, right? So obviously one thing is that if you have less averaging orders, your position is smaller, right? And your loss is smaller. So instead of 11%, you have actually 10% loss, but your loss is already cut in half because your position, didn't double at the 13th averaging order, so it's already 1%. Okay, maybe you can now, what else you want to do? Maybe you say, okay, maybe I'll put my stop loss closer, not at 5% from the last averaging price, but at 3%. Okay. Well, yeah, that maybe gave me another, decreased my loss by another $100. Maybe not worth it. Go back to 5%, right? At least I have decent margin here. What else I can do? Well, one of the biggest levers that you can pull is the average order size multiple. Basically, that directly shows you how your position will increase. So if you go even from 2 to just 1.9, okay, that's very good, very good impact here. So if you go to 1.8, right, you just cut your potential loss from 1,000 to 400, right? So that's at 2, it's 1,000, and 1.8 is just 400. Whereas, in percentages, it actually became actually higher, but why is that? It's another matter, but it's less in terms of absolute loss, okay? However, also know that if you decrease average order size multiple, your potential loss decreases, but the distance of your take profit from the market price increases. That means the price needs to bounce more for your take profit to be reached. So the probability of reaching take profit is actually decreased, right? So if you decrease this average order size multiple, you decrease your potential loss, but you also decrease the probability for your take profit to be hit. You make it harder for your DCA to reach your take profit. So, right, we go back to 2. you see that if the last average order is reached, you need the price to bounce only 7, basically 6.9% for your take profit to be hit, right? But you're gonna lose over $1,000 if your stop loss is hit. However, if you decrease it to 1.8, now the take profit needs to, the price needs to bounce instead of 7%. It needs to bounce over 8% for TP to be reached. However, you cut your loss, almost, by 60%. So this kind of trade-offs that only you can decide which is better for you as a trader. However, at least we now give you the tools that you can do it with your eyes open and fully understand the kind of how those variables affect your potential loss and their probability that you reach take profit. Okay, so that's stop loss percentage and the absolute amount. Just one little thing, in case you are using leverage, obviously leverage does not affect this amount, right? So that's your unlevered, that's a total loss that you're gonna get.